This is a football podcast, man. Meat, football, good. Man, we talk football. We eat burgers.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. Boy, oh boy, do we have some good stuff for you today. We're doing a special episode breaking down
the Saturday
Panthers.
episode.
Yeah, the Saturday episode. I think we'll get this up today. Holy crap, man.
Yeah.
A trade. To end all trades.
This was big enough to get us up on a Saturday and do this.
So, well, yeah, let's just hop right into things here. Carolina Panthers traded up from number 9 to grab the number 1 overall pick. But it wasn't just that, because that in and of itself obviously is really big. But I don't think that by itself was big enough for us to get up on Saturday and do a special podcast episode. They did that and also traded DJ Moore to the Chicago Bears.
Big trade. I did not think they would let DJ Moore go. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess it makes sense to, if you're going to trade up, you got to give me something worth hanging on to. So, yeah.
I mean, I think what I read was they were trying to add in a 25 first instead of DJ Moore, but Ryan Poles, the Bears GM, said, no, we want DJ Moore, which he should have done because they need a wide receiver 1.
Yeah. The Bears did exactly what this is dream scenario, at least for me, for the Bears. This is exactly what you were hoping for. You get an elite wide receiver 1, and yes, DJ Moore is a wide receiver 1. I know he is disappointed for fantasy, but DJ Moore is an elite wide receiver. You pair that now, like Darnell Mooney is a good player, but he ain't all that. Chase Claypool, we know we don't like him. But I think those guys in tandem with DJ Moore can actually be good. And then that's not even including what the Bears got on top of DJ Moore for the first overall pick. They still have a top 10 pick this year. They got a first round pick next year from the Panthers, a second round pick this year. I think it's pick 61, and a second rounder in 2025.
So from Chicago's perspective, there's a lot of ways to break this down, right? They have, first off, if you're a Bears fan, I would be over the moon excited because this is an absolute home run for them in terms of building a team, getting the pieces you need to have a competitive roster. They feel like they've got their quarterback, which is obviously why they traded out of number 1. So check. In the process of trading down, they get a wide receiver 1 for your quarterback to support him. That was one of the biggest needs on the team.
You don't even have to draft
home
one now.
run. You don't have to draft a receiver. And on top of that, they've got the $90 million plus in cap room that, like, they have to spend a certain amount of money. So listening to the fantasy footballers the other day, they were saying that there's a rolling 3-year average of money spent in free agency, and NFL teams have to hit a certain threshold over a rolling 3-year average. And so the Bears are currently below whatever that threshold is, so they have to spend a lot of money. Like, they can't just sit back and play it conservative, roll it over to next year. They have to spend money. So
the Bears could be a competitive team.
They could be interesting. I don't know how far they're going to get. I'm really intrigued to see what they do in free agency. I'm wondering if they decide now to really attack the defense and the O-line in free agency, and then
I think
draft.
that needs to be their next pick is the O-line. Is now they've addressed the receiver room. I mean, Justin Fields is just fine running. Khalil Herbert is a good running back, even if they don't bring David Montgomery. They have to protect Fields now. Like, you're all in on him. You traded the number 1. You got him some weapons. You have to keep him safe.
I could even see them, because the running back class is so deep, I could see them picking up a running back in like the 3rd round, like a Zach Evans, a Sean Tucker, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not one of the elite guys, because I think they could use their earlier picks in other places, namely offensive line, defensive line. They've got a great secondary. I mean, they have pieces.
I think the latest mock I saw had the Bears taking Peter Skronsky. I don't know exactly how to say his last name. The guy from Northwestern, the tackle.
Yep.
At 9, which I think that'd be a great pick. is, you get to have that and DJ Moore now. You've gotten two players for one pick.
Yeah, and I think they could, with their first, second-round pick, and even their second-round pick, there's a couple guys, offensive linemen, that I think...
Well, they traded the first one, remember, for Chase Claypool, so they don't have their second-round pick. That's
right. The 32nd pick.
Yeah.
Which, that was a mistake.
That was a bad trade.
Not great. But with the Panthers' second-round pick, you could take either... I've heard a lot of good things about John Michael Schmitz, an offensive lineman from Minnesota. There's also a dude from North Dakota State. His name is Cody Mauch, I think, or Maw, not sure which. Both of those guys seem like they're going to be really good interior offensive linemen as well. So you could, if you wanted to, go O-line with your first two picks, maybe get a running back, a receiver, another kind of depth guy. They do have Velus Jones too, which... he could be a gadget player for him on offense.
I think going into this trade, they only had 3 receivers on the roster. It was like Claypool, Velus Jones, Mooney, and one other guy. It wasn't Mooney, I don't think. Is Mooney under contract still?
I think Mooney's still under contract. It's Mooney, Equanimeous St. Brown,
Equanimeous St. Brown, that's what it is.
Yeah, the lesser of the St. Brown brothers.
And St. Brown nobody cares about.
Exactly. The tall one. The one that sucks. So, yeah, for Chicago, this is probably a dreamland scenario.
For fantasy, where are you at with Justin Fields and DJ Moore, for that matter?
I think I'm still... let's do DJ Moore first, because Justin Fields is more polarizing. DJ Moore, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I feel about him. The wide receivers for this coming season, just like strictly redraft purposes, he's probably a top 15 receiver for me. I don't think he's going to be a wide receiver 1 necessarily, just because I don't know how much they're going to throw, I guess. And I know Justin Fields is a good thrower, but I'm not... It's sort of the argument against why A.J. Brown would work in Philly. And maybe it's just incorrect at this point, because we've seen it sort of proved wrong time and time again, where you've got a quarterback who's sort of unproven as a passer, a stud receiver goes to the team, and then automatically the quarterback levels up. So I don't know necessarily how, I don't know the ceiling, I guess, for DJ Moore, but I think his floor is probably better. I would imagine he gets a bunch of targets. And I do think Justin Fields is better than any quarterback he's played with in his career so far. So
you're telling me Sam Darnold is the guy? It wasn't the guy?
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
PJ Walker wasn't the guy?
Was not the guy. He was the guy.
A washed up Cam Newton wasn't the guy?
Oh, yeah. Cam Newton, that was dog.
When he came back for 2 games?
Yeah, he was. Whew, that was bad. Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about it? Because I think it's not just him. There's also a lot of other players that I think are moving up for me. Like a guy nobody talks about, but I think you and I both like, Jerry Jeudy. I think he's going to be a top 15-ish type receiver this coming year.
A healthy year with Sean Payton, like Jerry Jeudy, is going to pop.
Yeah, and Chris Olave moves up, and Garrett Wilson moves up. These are guys that were not consensus top 15 receivers a year ago.
And you got the other guys considered. Devonta Smith. He was top 10 this year. Where do you take him now? I mean,
right.
There's a lot of moving pieces in this wide receiver, upcoming 2023 season for wide receivers.
Yep.
I'm trying to be a little conservative on DJ Moore, just because you compare him to AJ Brown and Justin Fields, or AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, which I can see some of the comps. However, keep in mind AJ Brown, I think first of all, is a better receiver than DJ Moore. And on top of that, he went to a far better situation than DJ Moore's going to. But that aside, I mean, DJ Moore's not going to be worse. How could he be? I mean, a guy that talented, what was he, wide receiver 30? Something like that?
Yeah.
I think I definitely got him, probably top 20. I think top 15 is upside. I'm not willing to go all in on that upside yet. I'm still going to take, Chris Olave, guys like that over him. But yeah, I think it's within the realm of possibilities if Justin Fields, now that looks like they're committing to him, I could see him leveling up.
Okay, so Justin Fields. That's the other side of this wide receiver quarterback tandem. How high are you on him now that he's got his wide receiver one?
Top 5. I mean, I guess that's not really a bold statement given how much he broke out, mid-late last year.
Yeah.
But now that they have draft capital to put pieces around him, they did put a great piece around him in DJ Moore. I'm more or less kind of all in on Justin Fields. I think his ceiling is quarterback 1. Assuming he doesn't get hurt, I don't see a world where he doesn't finish at least top 7 again. So,
yeah. So above him, you probably have Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. I'm guessing. Do you have Burrow or Herbert over Justin Fields?
That's where I'm struggling. I love Burrow and Herbert, but we've also seen the ceiling from Justin Fields, and it's 45 points in a game, which is, really the same as those guys. I think I got to put him over Burrow. He and Justin Herbert are about even to me. We'll see what the Chargers do. If the Chargers go out and get a good wide receiver, I would probably prefer Herbert. But if they don't, definitely give me Fields at 4 behind Jalen Hurts.
What about Fields versus Lamar?
Right now, definitely give me Fields. Easily.
Interesting. So what if... Yeah, we'll leave that there. I guess because we don't really know anything about Lamar yet, we can't really figure out what to do with him. Yeah, I think top 5 is probably about right for Justin Fields. I've got one league where I had Kyler Murray and I needed a backup quarterback last year, and I traded a couple seconds. It's one quarterback, so it's not super flexible, but I traded a couple seconds for Justin Fields before he had that month-long stretch of just like breaking the league kind of thing.
I bet that feels good.
Yeah, especially when Kyler Murray tore his ACL and I just slotted in Justin Fields and then won the league that last year. So
one of my leagues, my team's it was a really contending team, and I have Jonathan Taylor. Still do, but had Jonathan Taylor and I have Josh Allen and Justin Fields, and Justin Fields wasn't really doing anything. Obviously, I wasn't going to play him over Josh Allen ever. And I was trying to find a QB needy guy who had Nyheim Hines. This was right after Taylor got hurt. I'm like, dude, I need Nyheim Hines. I'll give you like Justin Fields if you'll give me like Hines in a third. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Which team was this?
What?
Who was going to get him?
Mully.
Yeah, but who had Nyheim Hines? I'm just
Alex.
trying to. Oh my God.
Yeah, and he's like, no, I think Justin Fields is a bum. And then like the next week, Nyheim Hines got hurt. And then 2 weeks later, Justin Fields started scoring 40 points a game.
Oh my gosh.
So, needless to say, I dodged a bullet on that one. Because I was just like, dude, I got to shore up my running backs. Like, I need somebody right now who can give me production. Nyheim Hines is thrust into a starting role. Like, I need him. So.
Oh, man. Okay, the Panthers side of this, they are trading up for a quarterback.
They must love somebody.
So I think what I've seen, and it could all be just like gamesmanship, but they're like, we love 2 or 3 of these guys, and so we're just going to trade up to number 1 and then figure out who we want. And then another report came out that said they were open to trading down from number 1 with a team that wanted a quarterback. I would think that would be like, hey, Vegas, hey, Colts, come get the number 1 pick and give us a boatload of capital.
You had a boatload of capital, though.
I know. I think they're going to stay at 1. I think they're going to probably take a quarterback. It's just a matter of which of the 3 do you think they traded up for?
I mean, probably Bryce Young. He's the quote-unquote best quarterback in the class.
Yeah.
But I feel like they were one of the main teams who people, like, they love Anthony Richardson. So, I said it again, I wouldn't take him, but if you think Anthony Richardson or whoever it is the guy, and you traded that much for, like, they must love him. And if you think he is legit, it was worth it.
Yeah, so for the quarterbacks, strictly speaking, like NFL real life production, not really talking fantasy football. I am take this with a grain of salt because it might sound like a bit of a homer thing to say, but I feel like if Seattle were to draft one of these quarterbacks, they will succeed just because the organization, the head coach, the infrastructure's kind of in place for that player to succeed there. The Panthers felt like a team that, like, Frank Reich to me feels like a great coach. I still don't know, like, the owner situation, the GM seems like he's pretty buttoned up. So, like, it seems like Carolina could be good, but I'm not really convinced that, like, because none of these prospects to me are just like Trevor Lawrence home runs, doesn't really matter. They're just going to be good kind of thing. They all seem like there's a possibility things could go wrong, I guess.
There's more red flags around each of these guys. Obviously, way better than last year.
Oh, my God, yes.
At the same time, like, Bryce Young, is he too small? Does he have the arm? C.J. Stroud, I think people have questioned his arm. Plus, he was in the Big Ten, and Ohio State quarterbacks really haven't worked out. Anthony Richardson is a physical freak, but he completed 50% of his passes in college.
Yeah. The other part that people are freaking out about is the Panthers' current wide receiver core is terrible, but...
Now it's Terrence Marshall and who else?
Laviska Shenault.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's not good, but also everybody tweeting like, oh my God, they traded up for this quarterback and now he has nobody to throw to. Obviously, they're going to bring in a receiver or three. Yeah. Like, they're not going to leave that receiver room as it is and bring in a rookie and just be like, all right, have at it.
This class, free agent class, is not very good. So,
But, I mean, they could go get Jacoby Myers. They could get Juju, Odell. Like, any of those are fine for a rookie. Like, they're not terrible. They're not incompetent.
Yeah, help him develop or something.
Yeah.
But they also don't have a first next year, so they can't get a wide receiver out of that class either.
Right. They could swing a trade for like a Brandon Cooks or somebody like that who's just completely out in Houston.
Robert Woods got signed there, by the way. I didn't know if you saw that.
I did see that. Yeah. So that to me is like, I don't know, shoring things up for whatever rookie quarterback they grab.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Panthers one's interesting. I feel like they're going to take C.J. Stroud. That's personally where I think they're going to go.
I'd be okay with that. Physically, he might be the best prospect. I don't know, given his accuracy, and college production pedigree. Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be really interesting. I feel like I would want the third pick because I don't want to pick from any of these guys. I would just want whichever one falls to me. But if the Panthers like one over the other, go get your guy. And if they like him that much for fantasy in Superflex leagues, that's probably the 102 behind Bijan Robinson. They invested that much to go get their guy, and he's probably going to be an instant starter. I think you got to take him.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of depends on which guy they take, I guess, but you're probably right. And draft strategy is going to kind of play into that as well. I still think people are going to want to take Richardson. But obviously we got to see where he goes and how, like, when does he go? Like, I think if he goes top 10, he probably is the 102.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's as much as they're going to invest. If he goes to the Colts, I like him. If he goes to Houston, obviously I don't want him. I don't think I haven't seen one mock where Houston takes him, so I don't think Houston will get him. But
I think they're Bryce Young all the way.
Vegas, I don't love it.
I think there's an outside chance Seattle goes and gets him. He sits for a year and then is the guy moving forward after that. If that's the case, oh Lord, that could be a lot of fun.
Dude's got a great deep ball, and DK Metcalf, I don't know if you've heard, is pretty good at catching deep balls.
Pause. Anyways, I think that's about it, right? Is there anything else you want to touch on with this trade?
No, just kind of wanted to go over this. That's the first, like, massive news of the offseason.
Big stuff. Big stuff. All right, that'll do it from us. We'll check back in with you as our regularly scheduled programming kicks back into high gear next week. We'll see ya.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. If you enjoyed the episode and want to connect to us, follow us on Instagram at @FantasyBrothers_ or on Twitter at @FantasyBros_. If you want to support the show, you can do that at Patreon /Fantasy Brothers.